Hey, hey, hey. Welcome to another episode of Unleashing Empathetic Conversations. I know it's weird, right? Today you're seeing me by myself, but no worries. We are discussing, my girl's still in the chat. We are discussing mental health today. My name is Liz Gerardo, also known as the Empathetic Coach, owner and founder of Bridge Over Troubled Waters Elite Coaching. I am a leadership, life, relationship, marriage coach, and I am John C. Maxwell certified. Anyhow, yes, like I said, today we are discussing mental health. And I am here by myself today, but it's okay. My girl Jasenia is going to be in the YouTube chat. And hey, Jasenia, thank you for tuning in. And Christina has some things going on today, so she will not be joining us. But she's around. Now, I do want to also say that it is Mental Health Awareness Month. So I am a huge advocate for, taking care of your mental health and taking care of yourself. So for that reason, I mean, I if they got something going on, I'm a big advocate for take care of you first. Just like my wonderful boss in my job is a huge advocate of it herself, and she's constantly reminding me that I am a person first. And so definitely take care of yourself, and that is why Jasenia is not here today. I made her go take care of herself first, so she's taking a breather. And I am going to rock it out. Yes, Jasenia, of course. And you know what? Like I said, your health is your wealth. So you got to take care of you. Okay. I mean, if you don't do it, your body will do it for you. And you don't want that. You don't want that. So let me go ahead and jump right into it. I welcome all the questions, I welcome everything. And I am here. So feel free to ask away, share. Uh, by the way, I would appreciate your likes. I would appreciate your subscription. So subscribe to the channel, right? And share the channel, subscribe to the channel, and like away. I would like to start off with, of course, mental health awareness. This week in particular, I am discussing the part two of the series on mental health, and the part two and last series, last day of the series on mental health. Understanding mental health struggles. That's a very passionate place for me. It's so important to understand what mental health and not just, oh yeah, they're depressed or stressed or what. No, it's important to understand it, because mental health is it goes so far deeper. And if you have never been there, if you've never struggled with your mental health, then you don't understand it. They always say you got to be there to understand what it's like. And it is so true. You have to be there. You have to have walked the walk to understand the talk. And not for nothing, but I'm a very big believer in that. I could never truly understand somebody's pain unless I've been there, right? I mean, I'm empathetic and I'm compassionate, and I do feel other people's pains, but it's different when you experience it for yourself. So let's talk about the importance of mental health and understanding mental health struggles, because so many people go through it. Very few are afraid to talk about it, and the worst thing you can do is keep it to yourself, right? Sometimes we want to put on a happy face and fake it till we make it, or we all go through it. We're all human. We all feel the struggles of the world. We all feel loss. We all feel depression at times, stress. We all go through stress. We really need to understand that mental health is something to take really serious. And like I said before, and I was saying it to Jasenia earlier, if you don't take care of you, your body will stop you and take care of you then. You know what I mean? You don't want to wait until your body stops you, but it's so important to take care of yourself. So, speaking of, uh, I wanted to address what affects our mental health. So let's talk about that. Family history and genetics is a big part of that. We do go through situations where it runs in our families. Genetics does play a part, family history does play a part. And family history can be anything from, the genetics to it also being, I want to say, history of experiences within your family, what you've been through, how you grew up. Um, it could be trauma, anything, could also history in the family affect our mental health. Stress is a big contributor as well. Sometimes stress does a number on each and every one of us, right? And if you don't know how to handle stress, then chances are stress will handle you, right? And take your mental health on a journey. So we got to remember that as well. Stress can be a huge a very huge impactor to our mental health, and social and economic conditions as well. Social and economic conditions, finances, that can definitely take a toll on our mental health. Depending on everybody's situation, right? Not everybody is the same. Finances can always, take a toll on somebody depending on what you're going through and your struggles, right? You're dealing with, it could be anything at all. You have a lot of bills, you're up to your neck in bills, or you're having bills. You got so many things to pay. Uh, it could take a toll. And we need to remember that as well. And I mentioned trauma before. Trauma is a big contributor to how, our mental health is affected, right? So, and trauma is huge because it comes from so many different areas of our lives, and it could be minor or it can be huge. So trauma is something that, it's something that has to be dealt with. If you don't deal with it, it's going to always be there, right? Our subconscious is amazing at keeping memories that we can't even remember. So we have to remember that trauma does play a huge role in how our mental health is affected. So, rape victims, abuse victims, and we spoke about abuse recently, right? We had the domestic violence series. I went through that as well, and it's it takes a toll, so it definitely has to be dealt with, because if you just sweep it under the rug, the problem is there, it's just not being dealt with. So it's still affecting you, because it'll always affect, how you react to things, or your triggers. And it's important to know your triggers so that you know how to manage them as well, because triggers will never go away, but it's important to manage them. Okay, for that reason, just to know what triggers you so that when you are triggered, you can manage them. Lifestyle also plays an important role in our mental health. Exercise, diet, alcohol, drugs, that can also mess with our mental health. So, mental health conditions is a state a state that affects how we think about ourselves, relate to others, and interact with the world. That is what mental health technically is. So we want to know, like, do you know anybody like that? I mean, we all know somebody who's struggling with their mental health, and, take a listen. Sometimes just check up on them, talk to them, ask them how they're doing, pay attention. A lot of times it's the nonverbal signals that give away a lot of information. So keep that in mind as well. Though unseen, mental health is like your physical health conditions. There are so many of them, so many different physical health conditions, different types, and they're all treatable with the right support, right? Right medicine, all of that. So just like we wouldn't call a person, with a broken leg, hey, broken leg. You wouldn't call a person a broken leg just because they have a broken leg, right? People with mental health conditions should not be defined by it either. We wouldn't call so-and-so a schizophrenic because they are a person living with schizophrenia. So that's the other thing with mental health. Unfortunately, mental health is, there's a stigma behind it. And it's so much that it's society that has put a stigma behind mental health and the way people deal with it, or the embarrassment, or just not wanting to talk to anybody. These things are so critical and so important for people to be able to come out and talk about it, but when they're bullied, when they're made fun of, when you don't really listen to somebody, when you're so busy just knocking people, over whatever it is, sometimes, hearing things. And I want to share that anchors, and please feel free to ask questions. If you guys have any questions, please ask questions. But I would like to share too that sometimes in our lives, we grow up with anchors. And those anchors, I learned this back in 2017 at a huge conference with one of my favorite guys, Armando Montalongo. He in 2017, I went to one of, our big, huge meetups, and we talked about anchors. He talked about anchors. Anchors are those things that you hear while you're growing up, and it could be anything like money doesn't grow on trees. That's an anchor. The things that you grow up repeating and believing, that make you, those are anchors. And so you want to try to let go of those anchors, because unfortunately, those anchors also affect our mental health growing up, who we are, how we deal with situations. Anything that you're told growing up by your parents, by your family members, by teachers, by friends, anyone, learn what to accept and what not to accept. Such important value in all that information. Honestly, I really do. I'm very passionate about mental health because, I know people who suffer from it. I myself am somebody who at one time, and I spoke about this last week with the ladies. Remember Jasenia, and Christina, we talked about how what was it? I was somebody who didn't believe in taking medications for me. It's not that I don't believe it for anybody, but I just didn't believe it for me. I didn't want to take medication because I didn't want it to mess with my chemistry, right? And just mess me up or what have you. But, I didn't want to depend on it, and there came a time where I needed it. And I knew that I needed it because I knew that I wasn't okay. You remember that, Jasenia? Yeah. It was it was hard, and it took a really difficult situation. It was the stress, the pressure, the constant push, everything that I was going through. And this was in oh yes, I don't want to talk about that. But it was very difficult for me. And when I realized that, you know what, this isn't working, I'm not getting any better. If anything, I'm getting worse. And if I continue to expose myself more and more and allow this to continue to affect me, it's going to take a really, really negative effect. I started to feel it, and I wasn't okay. I wasn't okay with my family. I wasn't okay with anybody. I didn't want to talk. I was constantly down. I knew then, and it took me realizing that I needed the extra help to help me cope with what I was going through at the time. And that, man, it has definitely changed my life. So it's not like you have to be on it permanently or anything like that. But, I do understand that sometimes medicine is helpful. All right. Not all the time, but sometimes. So, something I just wanted to share because that's what it took for me to realize how bad I was being affected. And then, of course, I took some time out for myself and separated myself for a little while from that because of what I was going through. And I wasn't going to continue to put myself through it because I was getting worse. So let's talk a little bit more on mental health and understanding mental health struggles, because it's very crucial to understand it. Improved diagnosis and treatment. These are several reasons, and I'm going to read you these several reasons that I wrote down for understanding mental health struggles and why it's so crucial to understand it. Improved diagnosis and treatment. When mental health struggles are understood, it becomes easier to diagnose and treat them. Misdiagnosis and inappropriate treatment can worsen your mental health condition, leading to negative consequences for the individual, for any individual. And I mean, kids, teenagers, adults, for anyone. And I talked about the stigma. This is why it's so important to understand mental health and the struggles that people go through with mental health, because it reduces the stigma around it. Understanding mental health struggles can help reduce the stigma surrounding mental health illness. Stigma can prevent individuals from seeking help, leading to worsening of their conditions. The stigma, around mental health prevents people from looking for that help that they need. And they even sometimes go into denial themselves, I would say, not believing that they have a mental health issue because somebody's constantly telling them, and it's not to undermine what they're going through in any way, but we have to remember that it's a severe situation. And what you say to somebody struggling with mental health struggles, illnesses, I think for this show, I'm just going to use the word condition, because there's so many different words used to define mental health, illness, disease, whatever. I would just want to use the word condition. So as I was mentioning, it can definitely worsen their mental health conditions. But what you say to somebody is so important, and how you speak to them. A lot of times, in the heat of the moment, we can say so many things to somebody and not realize that what we're saying can really have an effect on that person, any person. But realizing that it's better to just take a moment, breathe, think about what you say before you say it. Because one thing is throwing up on somebody and just saying whatever comes to mind, somebody who doesn't have any mental health conditions, struggles, or anything like that. And then somebody that does struggle with their mental health, what you say to one versus another, first of all, everybody deals with things differently. We know this, right? We're all different people, different chemistries, different personalities. We all deal with everything in our lives differently, no matter what it is. But you should know that it's super important to think about what you're going to say before you say it, especially to those struggling with their mental health. Keep that in mind, because you don't know the effects that it can have. And it's an extremely serious situation. And a lot of times you don't know how bad somebody is doing until it's too late. And you're like, wow, I should have thought about that. Or, that explains why they've been so quiet lately. Or, they were acting weird. I mean, there's so many different signs that we don't pick up. And sometimes there are no signs, but we really need to keep these things in mind, And speaking of preventing suicide, this is another reason why it's so important to understand mental health struggles, because we can prevent suicide, by being more understanding, more compassionate. That is such a difficult topic to discuss, but sadly, it's the reality of what happens and what's going on in our world. We've got kids to adults, leaving us to suicide. And it's terrible. And we don't know why. Are you paying attention? Mental health struggles, if left untreated, can lead to suicidal thoughts and behaviors. Understanding mental health struggles can help identify and prevent suicide risks. None of us want to lose anyone to suicide, be it a friend or a family member. But the reality is that mental health is such a struggle. And a lot of people just ignore it. We get so busy with life. We get extremely busy with life and assume that everybody's okay. Really pay attention. You really never know. I mean, just a couple of years ago, we were dealing with a huge situation, right? COVID, which shut us all down and left us all isolated. Now, some people were able to deal with that perfectly fine, and some people were not. And those people are the ones struggling today, you know? Some are maybe gone and some still here, but, it's in the reality of the situation that we realize what's going on. But again, that stigma is what keeps people from seeking help. And that's what we need to stop, is the stigma around mental health. Mental health, if not understood, can also cause negative effects. Very sad negative effects. Misunderstanding and miscommunication. Lack of understanding of mental health struggles can lead to misunderstandings and miscommunications between individuals. A misunderstanding can take a toll on anyone. A misunderstanding can go far, and it may also be just a little misunderstanding. But when you're dealing with somebody who has a mental health condition, you're dealing with somebody who may be taking that misunderstanding further left than you ever thought. Hello, Uncle Junior. Welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us. And let me just acknowledge something before I just continue ranting on, because I've got a whole lot more to say, but I would like to acknowledge some of the comments here. Yes, Jasenia, thank you so much for that. Yeah. Jasenia says, excellent evening, everyone, and happiest and blessed Mother's Day in advance. Yep. Blessed Mother's Day to everybody. Yeah, I work on Mother's Day. I work tomorrow, so I'll be working. When you've walked through what others bring to you in conversation, you have substance to add when helping them. Absolutely. Yeah. And that's when I was talking about experience versus just the knowledge. Knowledge and experience are two different things. And when you actually walk the walk, like I said, you can talk the talk. It's invaluable what experience can do. And most definitely relating to people who are going through certain situations is a lot easier on them because you understand them. And that's why understanding mental health struggles is imperative. And absolutely, words have great impact. Take a deep breath, evaluate if sharing what's on your mind is for the moment or ever at all. Yeah, for that moment, right. Yeah, and I'll be talking more about that because I take that to heart. Uncle Junior, it's nice to see you. So let me go ahead and continue sharing where I was sharing misunderstandings, right? So we talked about that, the stigma and discrimination. These are the negative effects of not understanding mental health. Without understanding mental health struggles, individuals may be stigmatized and discriminated against, which can further exacerbate mental health illness, mental health conditions. Which can prevent individuals from seeking help. Not for nothing, but there's a lot of people who just avoid it altogether because of what's being said, and for that reason, they end up with inadequate treatment. Without understanding the specific needs of an individual with mental health struggles, treatment may not be adequate, leading to worsening of their mental health condition. Risk of harm. Not understanding mental health conditions can go as far as, harm. Okay? Untreated mental health struggles can lead to self-harm, harm to others, substance abuse, all of which can have severe negative effects for individuals and society as a whole. I mean, I don't know, but I do take that. I've gone through my own. As I mentioned last week, I shared some stories, well, minor, right? I'm not sharing everything, but I have gone through some moments in my life where a lot of people have been, in dark places in their lives. And when you're in a dark place, there's so much that you could be thinking or not thinking, where you may end up, how you feel. I have to say, how you feel about yourself plays such a huge role, right? And sometimes when we're struggling with mental health, we can even view ourselves negatively as well. But that is why it's so important to, like I was saying, and Jasenia shared as well, it's so important to measure your words. Words play a big part in how they impact somebody's life. So super important to keep that in mind as well. Your words have power. Okay. And I know the Bible says words have the power of life and death. And they do. And that can impact somebody's life. What comes out of your mouth? What comes out of your mouth can impact somebody's life so hard. You don't know how they're going to take it, especially if they're struggling. So keep that in mind next time you talk to somebody who's struggling with their mental health. Measure your words. Measure your words. Anybody out there have any questions for me? Or want to share an experience even? Speaking, okay. So let's talk a little bit more on mental health awareness. Alrighty. So when they say things like, check up on your loved ones, check on your friends, things like that, the importance of taking care of your your mental health, and making sure you reach out to others and you check up on them. You don't know what they're going through, what they're struggling with. Keep in mind that it's because of, like I said before, the stigma that they don't reach out and seek help or speak to people. People talk, gossip, and they may find themselves in a situation where they're afraid somebody may say something to the wrong person or to somebody they don't, like, you want to be somebody that somebody can talk to. And like in one of my posts I shared, you need somebody to talk, I'll listen. While so many people see suicide as a way out, you're leaving the pain behind for somebody else, for a lot of other people to deal with. Your loss can impact somebody else's mental health. So think about that as well. And I mean, this is in general, generally speaking. It's a very, very broad subject, but very passionate about it because, and let me just talk to those that are struggling with their mental health, right? And I'm not saying I don't struggle. We all struggle, right? I've come a long way, but we're all human. So we all deal with the human tendencies of overthinking and, letting negative thoughts get to us. When you have negative thoughts, you replace them with positive ones. Easier said than done. I know, been there. Much easier said than done. But it's so important to practice self love, self talk. When I was in a place that even I didn't even love myself, it's so hard to get yourself out of that dark, dark place. But you have to think about those around you as well. Maybe that'll help you a little bit. While you're the one struggling and you're going through that mental health struggle, it's not fun. I'm not saying it's okay. No, I'm not saying it's easy because we all know it's not. But while you're going through that, take the focus off yourself for a moment, and don't wallow in the misery. Just look. Think about those that you're leaving behind. Think about the effects that it'll have on them. Do you want them to go through what you're going through? Wouldn't it be easier if you seek help than you leave the pain for somebody else to bear? And yeah, of course, somebody would call me at the wrong time. So yeah, I mean, think about those things. Whether it be, you know, a mother, a father, a brother, a sister, aunts, uncles, friends, best friends, a loved one, a girlfriend, a boyfriend, a husband, a wife, or, just think about those things. Even if for a moment, do you want to leave them with that to deal with? Or even feeling like they did something, they didn't do enough, or, those things. I'm speaking from a place of experience, so I don't mean to be insensitive, but I have been there. And so this is why it's so important to understand mental health struggles. It's extremely valuable to sometimes just sit there quietly with somebody who is struggling. Just quietly, just being there. Sometimes they just need somebody to sit there with them. If you are that person and you need somebody to sit there with you, get up and go sit next to somebody. Because if you're not speaking, how do we know how to help you if you're not speaking up? We want to help. People want to help. Don't be ashamed. Everybody that is struggling needs help. So all in all, I'm speaking from a place, like I said, of experience. And so I think it's insensitive to not understand mental health struggles. I think it's insensitive to think of people struggling with mental health struggles as weak. I think it's insensitive to view people struggling with mental health as less than. We all have a body and we all go through physical ailments. Mental health is not excluded. This brain holds on to so much memories, stress, so many thoughts, good, bad, and ugly. What are we going to do? Bills, life, friends, loneliness, you name it. And if you've gone through trauma, that's playing in your head too. So think about it. It's part of being humane. We're humans. And so it's just normal to go through ups and downs. It is. It's normal to go through ups and downs. And yes, Jasenia, that's right. Say something. Say something. Oh my gosh, I left it on there for so long. But yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Jasenia. It's so important. Some people don't want to talk because they're afraid of how people are going to look at them, and you know man. But the biggest thing is that it's really just being there for somebody who's struggling. Show your support, speak to them in ways that don't make them feel any worse, and like I said, it's not that you're going to make anybody feel you're not making them weak by, I want to say, by just, your truth isn't everybody's truth. Okay, somebody's truth isn't your truth. A lot of times, take the focus off of you and think about others, and not how you would want to be seen, not how you would want somebody to talk to you, not how you, it's not about you. In this life, I always like to see it as, life is not about us. Yes, us. Yes, here. We're all living here. Yes, we matter. But if you look at life as life is about others, then you're constantly thinking about how you can serve somebody else, and you're helping people, and you're being selfless, and you're being helpful to somebody that's struggling, and you're not thinking about um oh, that person's weak because of so and so, or whatever, or because they don't know how to deal with this, or because they can't hear the truth. I mean, I'm saying, yes, sometimes you got to tell people the truth whether they like it or not. Yes, I mean, I don't comfort me with a lie. Tell me the truth. I need to know. But when you're dealing with somebody who's struggling mentally, you have to measure your words. Plain and simple. So yeah. And on that note, we will unleashing empathetic conversations. We have talked about it, and so I'm going to share it with you all here as well. The ladies and I have talked about taking a 2-week hiatus. We are going to take 2 weeks off and prepare for the upcoming shows for the summer, and take time out to spend with our families the next couple of weekends. So for the rest of May, we will not be going live. You will not be seeing Unleashing Empathetics on YouTube or on Facebook or on LinkedIn. We are going to take a hiatus because it's so important to take care of yourselves as well. Work is always going to be there. Life, this is life. It's not going anywhere. So remember to spend time with those you love, and spend time with yourself, and take care of you, because like I said before, if you don't take care of you, your body's going to stop you in its tracks and say, hey, it's time to take care of you. So remember that. Keep that in mind. And that's what we will be doing. We will be taking 2 weeks off, and we will be coming back the first week in June. The first Saturday in June. Actually, you know what? Let's talk about that too. My hours are changing at my job, my full-time job. I don't know what my hours are going to be like just yet. And it looks like I'm going to be working all weekend as well. So I'm not sure about going live coming in June and Saturdays. When I do figure out what my hours will be like, I will be sharing, I will be posting, I may do a live, I'm not sure, but I will be coming back on to share, a new day and time possibly. If I still have my Saturdays off, then I'll still be doing Saturdays. But until, I find out, I will share that when it comes out. So yeah, we'll be doing that. Probably I'll let y'all know probably in about a week or so when I find out. But yeah, in June it'll probably be a new day and time. since my hours at work are changing and I'll probably be working throughout the entire weekend. So, yeah. Well, I mean, I'm by myself today and I'm over here talking about mental health, and I kind of went through it quickly since there was nobody else to have a conversation with but myself. Um, I know Jasenia's in the chat. Let's see. I can go. Let me see where else I can go and see if there's any chatter anywhere else. I'm not sure. But no, it's really quiet today, you guys. But any questions, anything that you guys want to share, Jasenia, if you have anything at all you'd like to share, by all means, open to it. Or I can end the show early today since it's just me. Okay. So that's that. I just wanted to address mental health struggles because it is May. It is Mental Health Awareness Month, and it's important. It's important. Mental health matters. It really does. And I don't want to say, yeah, like for our young viewers or our young family members and friends, our kids, our nieces, nephews, for the young people that are out there struggling with their own mental health. They're going through so many changes themselves, hormonal changes as they're growing up, their brain's still developing, their emotions, they're still learning how to get through life. Some of them are stuck, but it's hugely, hugely important to understand, especially talking to the young ones. The things that you say to them can have such an impact on their lives, especially if they're in a really, really low. Yeah, no problem. Thank you so much. I love and appreciate you too, Jasenia. I appreciate you so much. Thank you for even just joining in the chat. If I do have to end early today, that's okay. Then guess what? We'll start our mental health hiatus a little early. I always enjoy coming on and being here with you guys. I do want to share while I'm here, and I appreciate you all joining. I do this for you guys. I love what I do. I'm a very passionate person, compassionate person, empathetic person. I deal with emotions all day long. I feel everybody's emotions, good, bad, and ugly. I get very emotional with the emotions of other people. It's just how I have been created. And so that's why I am the empathetic coach, extremely empathetic. And I do want to share that Bridge Over Troubled Waters Elite Coaching is, my coaching business where I coach relationships and marriages. Now I coach relationships and marriages because been there, done that, and my passion has become relationships and marriages and all of that. And so I want to help others. And so if you are somebody is struggling in your relationship or your marriage, please do not hesitate to reach out. That's what I'm here for. And we are your bridge over troubled waters. So that song means a lot to me. Oh my God, it goes way back, and that's why I decided to name my business that. Bridge Over Troubled Waters from Simon and Garfunkel. If you guys haven't played that song, you should play it. I remember it playing in the background when I was growing up, and I'll never forget it. It still plays in the background in my head, and I remember that. So when it came to relationships and marriages, and I was a little girl when I used to hear it in the background. Now I'm a grown up, and it means the world to me to be the bridge for you all. So anyone struggling in their relationship or in their marriage, feel free to reach out. And I can't leave today without sharing, that and I know you guys know this already because I share it every show, but I'm a faith-based person. I love God and I believe in God, and He is the reason why I'm still standing through all I've ever been through in my life. That was also my medicine. So even to those of you out there struggling, happen to know somebody that I just ran into recently. And if you are watching, just know that there's a purpose in your pain. There is always purpose in pain. And that's how I looked at pain when I went through pain. Your pain is your story, and your story is going to help somebody one day. And that's why I am how I am. And I took my pain as part of my journey, as part of my story, as part of what I was going to use to help others. Because you don't have to go through anything alone. There are plenty of people here who care, even when your own close loved ones may not. But there are people here who care, and I'm one of them. So, as I said, there's purpose in your pain. Without pain, I'm not saying there's no purpose, but usually pain comes with a purpose. If life was easy, we'd all be in the same exact situation. We'd all be happy, financially free, the whole 9 yards. But life is not meant to be easy. Life is a forever school that is going to take you on different journeys, up and down. And that's going to build your character in due time. That builds your character for your next level. Everything that we go through in our lives is purposed for a reason. That's my belief. And that is how I got myself and how I continue to get myself through a lot of things. I don't look at my downs as, just extremely negative. And I don't. There's always a happy side to everything we go through. If we didn't go through hard times, we wouldn't become stronger and we wouldn't become more resilient to be able to go through more situations that life is going to throw at us regardless. Because life is going to throw darts left and right. That's just life. And so understand that if you are struggling today, there is pain in your there is purpose in your pain. There is purpose in your pain. Use that. Learn from it. At times I know my husband has said things to me like, I don't understand how you could be just worryless. You don't worry about anything. And, things can pile up and you're just like nonchalant. And yeah, I am. I am like that. Yep, that's right, Uncle Junior. Purpose in your pain. I am like that. I am extremely nonchalant. I don't worry about things that I cannot control. And if you continue to worry about things that you cannot control, then it's going to control you. And you have to learn how, that's just how I try to de-stress. I can't deal with stress. It just does my body wrong. I know that I'm going to get sick if I start stressing and, all that. So the way that I deal with it is I don't. I can't. I can't. I just can't. It's too much. And if it's something I can't control, then why even bother worrying about it? It's going to happen. It's going to happen. So, I don't worry about those things. And I just remember that at the end of the day, whatever I'm going through, I'm going to come out stronger. And I know that not everybody's made the same way and not everybody's going to come out stronger or what have you, but I want to encourage you to come out stronger. I want to encourage you to realize that as I kept mentioning it and Uncle Junior repeated, there is purpose in your pain. Okay, so that purpose can be for you, that purpose can be for somebody else. I view my pain as purposeful for others, to help others, because there is no there is no more, like, no, how do I say this? Um, there is nothing more valuable than the experience that you go through to be able to help somebody else. You know, you can literally, I mean, yeah. Like I said, I was going to say something else, but I held back. So, yeah, when you go through it yourself, you know exactly what it feels like, what you went through. I mean, you know exactly what it's like to be there. And it's so much easier to help somebody else when you've been there and you've been able to get yourself out of that, or, you know. So I'm very huge on that, and I'm okay with that. I feel like everything that I go through in my life is there for a reason. And so that is why I'm such a huge believer. And I also turn to God for all of my issues. So I'm not trying to preach down everybody's throat or anything like that, but that is my belief. And I respect everybody's beliefs, but my beliefs, my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, is what has gotten me through the darkest hours. And it is what keeps me going. It is literally my life, like, really. Okay. So if you ever felt a little tug, listen to that tug. There might be a really good reason for it, and you never know. So I wanted to share that with you all today. I didn't do the prayer like I normally do, and that's because, Jasenia, thank you for jumping in and praying with me before you took a moment for yourself. And so, yeah, I'm so happy to have been sharing here with you guys today. And like I said, I am here to help. If you or somebody you know is struggling in their relationship or their marriage, it doesn't have to be the end. A lot of people quit so easily, and that's why there's so many early divorces. Marriage is not for the faint of heart, and it's a lifetime commitment. Now, there are some reasons you can jump out of it, of course, but I believe that love is worth fighting for. Families are worth fighting for. So I'm here to help if anybody needs it. Feel free to reach out to Bridge Over Troubled Waters Elite Coaching, or myself. I'll lead you there. And yeah, so I hope you all enjoyed today's part 2 and final episode on mental health awareness and understanding mental health struggles. I hope you got something out of it, because really, I mean, if you didn't get anything out of it, I would hope that you got at least measure your words when speaking to people, because you never know what somebody's going through. Just because somebody doesn't tell you what they're going through doesn't mean they're not going through something, but we're all going through something. You're not alone. So if you need somebody to talk to, feel free to reach out to me, Liz Dorado, your empathetic coach. And have a good night, Junior, Uncle Junior, Junior, Uncle Junior. So I'm going to go ahead and end the show early today. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you all. You all mean the world to me. I'm here for you all always. We will be back the first weekend. Oh, I don't want to say the first weekend, because again, I said my hours are changing and I'm not sure. So I will be posting up the new hours, date, and time. Or if I'm still Saturdays or not, we'll find out. But we are taking a mental health hiatus, and we will be off for 2 weeks. So we'll see you again in June. Hope you all have a wonderful evening. Thank you for tuning in on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Thank you, Christina. Thank you for Jasenia. Thank you, Uncle Junior. I appreciate you all and everyone else, but I just wanted to reach out and share some love to my girls. Uncle Junior says, have a good night. Jasenia says, have a good night. Uncle Junior, have a peaceful night. Everybody have a peaceful night. Enjoy your weekend. Happy Mother's Day to all the amazing mothers out there. And happy Mother's Day to me too. All right, guys. You all have a wonderful evening. And I will see you again in June. Bye-bye.